Good afternoon, everybody. I know it hasn't been that long since our last conversation on our spiritual life journey, but I came across a video today on someone that I'm following named Aaron Dowdy, and he learned something recently that absolutely makes sense. We have a chemical in our brain that is called dopamine. I'm sure that a lot of you have probably heard of that chemical before. And when dopamine is released, you feel euphoria, ecstasy. People that do drugs, it releases dopamine. Certain things like adrenaline junkies releases dopamine. All these different things release dopamine. So everybody is always chasing that dopamine high. The problem is if we get too overstimulated with dopamine, and don't keep it in balance, keep it in check, then we become never satisfied. We always want more. Okay, perfect example, people that do street drugs or even regular drugs, abuse prescription drugs. They're seeking that dopamine. Like I said, adrenaline junkies, they have to keep going higher and higher and higher if they remain at those high levels of dopamine release. Okay? The key is to find that balance in your life where you have releases of dopamine and you get that ecstasy, you get that high, you get that beautiful feeling out of life, but then you go back to a balanced level where it's not constant. You're seeking higher and higher and higher. So people do a physical cleanse, cleanse out your body of all the toxins and different things like that. We also need to be mindful of doing a cleanse with our brain, okay? Clean out, balance back out with these dopamine levels. Find that happiness in just the regular activities, day-to-day activities, that keep you healthy, because it's those day-to-day activities that bring you long-term happiness, long-term peace, long-term satisfaction. It's those regular levels that we need and want to focus on every day, day to day. And then when we have that release of dopamine every once in a while, that ecstasy, we appreciate it more. We're not looking for higher levels. We appreciate the release that is happening. So I hope that makes sense. One of the things that he suggested was maybe going on a dopamine cleanse, for a week. Just do the things, things like video games, certain sports, obviously sex, different things like that. Watching certain television programs that release this high, this dopamine chemical in your brain, putting it on halt for like a week. And stay away from those high releases of dopamine for a week and cleanse yourself out. And then when you go back to, everyday tasks, you can find that extreme enjoyment in the things that the long-term things, the long-term changes you've made, the long-term living your purpose, doing all these different things. So I challenge each of us, right, to go on this dopamine cleanse, right? This mental cleanse of chemicals and rebalancing ourselves with our everyday life. Maybe take 5 days, take 7 days, and just put a pin in everything that releases those high levels of dopamine, and just find that satisfaction in everyday life and doing what your purpose is, And then another thing he also suggested, side note, is on the days when you get back into the swing of things and you want to go back into, these activities like watching your favorite show or playing the video games or sports or whatever it is that you do for adrenaline or sex. it's kind of your prize at the end of the day or toward the end of the day, because you don't want to be that, you want to be able to get rest that night. But do the things that are the long-term happiness goals and things that you do to move forward with those goals and to achieve those goals, and get that satisfaction of these day-to-day tasks. And then treat yourself to the video game or whatever it might be that satisfies your dopamine release for that day. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting, wanted to share with you right away, and something that I'm going to be putting into my life. Haven't done it yet, but to me, it just makes sense, right? So anyway, I hope you have a beautiful, magical day. Blessed be.